You won't believe this, I just baked this sourdough bread in only 5 hours. Stay watching this video and I'll show you how to do it. Hi everyone, I am Gluten Morgan and today we have a new challenge. The challenge is to bake today from scratch in the same day a sourdough bread. Yes, a whole sourdough bread in one day. You might have seen a lot of recipes that I do every day, and usually my bread takes longer, maybe 1 day, 2 days, even 3 days. But the challenge of today is to make it from scratch. I'll be kneading, fermenting, and then baking it today. It will take around 5 hours. That's a challenge. But why 5 hours or not 4, 6, 8? I think that 5 hours, if we do everything okay, it's okay to get a decent bread. I don't want to do the bread in 2 hours when you use just regular yeast, because that bread tastes like nothing. But what I want to achieve is to make a decent sourdough bread that tastes like a sourdough bread, but as fast as we can. So first of all, let's check the recipe. As you can see, here's the formula that you can add to your Gluten Morgan Baker's Percentage app, which is free for all the phones, iPhone and Android. The recipe of today uses strong flour. If you don't have strong flour, you could use bread flour, it's okay. Then some whole wheat flour and a little bit of buckwheat. If you don't have buckwheat, you could use just whole wheat flour or bread flour. Then a lot of water, of course sourdough starter, and a little bit of salt. So let's do this. All right, time to prepare timer. 5 hours, 1, 2, 3, go. This moment on, I have 5 hours, 59 minutes and 55 seconds to get the bread in the oven. So here it is. Look all the bubbles and the air that it has inside. It is ready to work. But why is it ready to work if you just took it out of the fridge? The thing is that I refreshed it and had it ready to work yesterday evening, so I could use it direct from the code this morning. I'll show you in a few seconds how I did it. Today, as we don't have too much time, I'll be using my mixer. So we won't do any autolyze at all. I am going to add all the ingredients, add the sourdough starter, add the water, the salt, and that's it. And another thing, I won't do just one bread. I'll make 3 loaves of bread, because the idea is to try 3 different techniques, so which one is better in this 5 hour time that I have. The weight of the dough is 2.5 kilos. And first ingredient, strong bread flour. If you don't have strong bread flour, it's okay, you could just use bread flour. And now the whole wheat flour. For better results, try to use the superfine one. Next, the buckwheat flour. And now it's time for the sourdough starter. See how airy it is, full of bubbles, ready to work. Please don't use your sourdough starter if it's not ready to be used, okay? Just refresh it and wait till it's ready to work. Now the water, and of course the salt. All the ingredients are in the machine, and I have left 4 hours and 42 minutes. So let's start with this. It's now working on lower speed. Since we are not doing any autolyze, nothing at all, the idea is to let it mix all the ingredients, and as soon as I see that that mission is accomplished, I'll move it to fast speed. Come and see this. We have all the ingredients already incorporated. And now we have left 4 hours, 38 minutes and 14 seconds. Let's move to fast speed. Now we have the machine kneading for us, so it's time to refresh my sourdough starter. You might have been thinking why I use it straight from the fridge, from the code. The thing is that this sourdough starter is always active when I take it out of the fridge. Why? Because I refresh it, I feed it every time I finish working with it, like today. So the secret to keep your sourdough starter always in good shape and ready to work is to feed it regularly with flour and water by the eye. I'm not measuring, I'm not weighing anything. I'm just doing it by texture. The idea is to keep a little bit low in hydration. You know that sourdough starter should be fed one-on-one. One part of flour, one part of water. In this case, we'll be using a little bit less of water. Why? Because the fermentation process will be done a little bit slower, and that will help us to see how it is working, how it is fermenting. When it's hydrated at 100% hydration, this will occur faster. And maybe if you are not so trained in this bread world, you won't see it well. So let's keep a little bit lower in hydration. That will help you a lot to have a healthy sourdough starter. Let's go with the flour. It's not too much, not too many, just whatever you find it's right, that's the right amount of flour. We add the water. It should be a little bit less than the amount of flour. Now we mix it and we try to get this creamy texture which you're seeing now. That's the ideal texture. Don't make it so runny. The idea is to keep it a little bit low in hydration. That's the right texture. So we're done. That's how I refresh my sourdough starter every day. What's going to happen now? I need to leave this sourdough starter here on the counter, maybe 2-3 hours, in order that the fermentation process starts. So when I see that it's rising, what do? I take it back into the fridge and let it rise slowly throughout the night, and it will be ready for tomorrow morning, just I did it today. So that's a good tip, to have your sourdough starter always ready when you want to bake. You can come with me. I think the dough is ready. Take a look at it. The dough is ready, and we have left 4 hours and 26 minutes. Let's take it out. And with my hands, we'll check the membrane, the gluten network. Let's take it out. And as I told you before, I'm going to divide it in 3, because we'll be doing 3 different kinds of fermentation. The first one will be at room temperature. I still don't know which room temperature do we have. It's not that cold, it's not that hot. The second method will be a water bath. We won't be bathing the dough. We'll be using just some hot water in order to ferment it better. And the third method will be using a fermenter, but a homemade fermenter, my oven, which I will put as lower as I can in order to help us ferment the dough. Dough is divided in 3 different bowls, and now each one will take its own fermentation path. 4 hours and 13 minutes. So I'll take this too, and this one stays here. Okay, but first let's check the temperature of this dough. It's at room temperature, and which is my room temperature? 73, 74 Fahrenheit. It's a good temperature. In a few minutes, I'll be doing some stretching and folding. With this dough, I'll be working here on the Gluten Morgan lab. With this second one, I'll be doing this water bath. But the correct water bath is done with boiling water. In this case, I'll be using just hot tap water. It's okay, let's go with the water. Okay, let's check the temperature. 107, 105 Fahrenheit. Good temperature. May the gluten be with it. Dough 2 ready. Now we have left 4 hours and 2 minutes. And let's go with the third one to the oven. The good thing about this oven is that I can put a very low temperature, 35 degrees centigrade, which is in Fahrenheit. Thanks Google, that's 95 degrees Fahrenheit. We have all the three doughs fermenting in their bowls. The first one at room temperature, the second one in this water bath, and the third one in the oven. We still have 4 hours left. That's a lot of time, but not too much time. And what comes next? I'll be making some stretching and folders in a few minutes. And let's continue. Room temperature dough. Time to make some stretching and folding and give it some tension. It's looking good. I wet my hand, now I start stretching it, not too much. Oh, look, interesting. Now I fold it into itself. Let's go with the second one. Now third stretching and folding, and the last one. Before I cover it, let's check the temperature, which is around 22 degrees centigrade. Time to cover it and let it rise here. Bye-bye. I have to do the same, some stretching and folding to this water bath dough. Let's check the temperature. Oh, look. That's a good temperature. And we still have 3 hours and 52 minutes. Time to make some stretching and foldings on this one. And back to the oven. All the three doughs are ready and fermenting, each one on its own fermenting method. The third one, the one which is in the oven, I don't have to do anything else by the moment. The first one at room temperature, I need to check it to see, just to see what's going on, what is the room temperature that it has. And this one, the second one, which is in this water bath, I'll be checking the temperature of the water. Maybe I'll be changing it to keep it on the same temperature. And we still have 3 hours and 48 minutes. 3 hours, 9 minutes left, and it's time to check the water. I think it's not that hot. Let's check the water. It's around 29, 28, 6, around 29. That's 84 degrees Fahrenheit. That's not too much. Okay, and now it's time to check the dough. Around 26, 27, that's 80 degrees Fahrenheit. It's okay, but we need more temperature. We're making this a little bit faster. So let's change the water. Now let's add hot water again. Okay, let's check it again. 42, almost 43 degrees centigrade. That's around 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Good, good temperature. Let's put it in again. Let's discard this room temperature water. Okay, now we have 3 hours left and 4 minutes. We have 2 hours and 32 minutes. And it's time to check our room temperature dough. How it is. It looks good. Look how the tension it has. We don't need to make any more stretching and folding. 21 degrees centigrade, 22. It's okay, it's not bad. Perfect temperature should be 25. That's around 70 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's okay when you have time, but when you don't have time, I don't know. But this is an experiment. Let's continue. So why don't we check now the third dough, the one that is in the oven. The oven says that we are at 35 degrees centigrade, which is around 95 degrees Fahrenheit. So let's check if it is really at that temperature. Let's make some place and move the dough number 2, which is still warm, and time to check the third one. We are reaching 90 degrees Fahrenheit. I thought at the beginning that we reached that temperature, but it's okay. Back into the oven, and we still have 2 hours and 27 minutes of this challenge. We have 1 hour and 6 minutes to bake the loaves. So I'm not sure, we still have no bannetons, I still haven't formed or shaped the breads, and I don't want to see how are the doughs. First of all, let's check the room temperature dough and see how it is coming. Chilling! Are you afraid? Well, I am. It's not that bad, and it still is remaining its shape, good tension. I'll leave it a few minutes here. Okay, dough number 2. Let's check it. Oh, it's more airy than the first one. Of course, the temperature helped a lot. The water is still warm. Okay, let's check the third one. Third one. Wow, it's like a slime. It's full of air. It's like it should be. But of course, you know, it's been at 35 degrees this whole time, so of course it's going to be okay. But it's time to shape the bread. Let's get some bannetons. Okay. Let me check this. This is okay. This one, no. What do I think about this one? No, this one's the same one. And there should be, this one. Okay, bannetons ready. Now some semolina flour and we're done. Hello, dough number 1. Here, some semolina flour. Let's go back to the lab. Here's dough 1, dough 2. Let me get number 3. The 3 doughs are on the table, so let's check temperature of each one before I shape them. Room temperature. Dough 2, water bath. Dough number 3, homemade fermenter. Let's check dough number 3. It's around 33 degrees centigrade. That is around 91, 92 Fahrenheit. Dough number 2 is around 28, 29 degrees centigrade. That's around 84, 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Good. We're good. Now let's check the first one. It was at room temperature 21. It's below 25, which is the best temperature for fermentation. That's okay, it's not that bad. Which is around 70 degrees Fahrenheit. So now we are ready to shape the breads, and we still have 51 minutes to go into the oven. It's gonna be tough. All right, let's start shaping the first one. The first one that we did, the room temperature dough. Here's the first panettone, and we put some semolina in it. With this scraper, let's start with this dough. It's not that bad. At first sight, it looks not too fermented, but not so low in fermentation at the same time. Okay, I'm always used to shape my breads when the dough is a little bit more airy, a little bit more fermented, with more gas in it, but let's give it a try. Loaf number 1, ready. Time for dough number 2, water bath. This dough seems a little bit more fermented than the first one. I am more used to this kind of dough. I usually work this kind of fermentation. The good thing is, or that helped a lot, was, of course, the temperature. But okay, let's shape it. This dough seems much normal. It is the kind of dough that I always shape when I'm making bread. So I'm liking this one. Good. Loaf number 2, done. Dough number 3, the one which was fermenting in the oven. This third one, because of the high temperature, looks like a slime. What I should have done is to take it from the oven into the fridge or somewhere to cool it down a little bit, so it would be easier to shape it. Now this dough is mostly like a gel, but there's no more time, so let's shape it. I like what I'm saying. It's a little bit more sticky than the second one, but it's okay, and it's full of air. Very well fermented. Number 3, ready. And we have 39 minutes left to, 38 and 15 seconds to go and bake these loaves. Let me organize this a second. Whoop! Are you lost with all the sourdough bread recipes that you find on the internet? Would you like to learn all the tips and tricks to make your own sourdough bread at home? Then I have the solution. I have designed the perfect masterclass of sourdough bread just made for you. By clicking the link on the description, you will learn how to make and take care of your sourdough starter, how to knead, shape, ferment and bake your sourdough bread, how to use and read the baker's percentage, all the basic techniques to bake like a pro at home, and how to read and understand your dough. Don't miss out on it and click the link on the description right now. But in order to not get so much confused, let's make some handcraft. Ding! And we still have a little bit more than a half hour to preheat the Dutch ovens. Let's go. Here are the Dutch ovens, so let's put them into the oven. We don't have too much time. Here goes the first one. Another one. They're pretty heavy. And the last one. Now let's set the temperature to 482 degrees centigrade. Now we have left 47 minutes and 41 seconds. 10 seconds and we need to take all the loaves into the oven. Okay, loaves, please stop fermenting. I always wanted to say that. First, we bake them. Let's check how they are. Number 1. Oh, okay, it's not that bad. I think it's a little bit under fermented, but I'm sorry. You need to go into the oven. Let's check number 2. This one looks much better. It's fluffy. I like this one. And let's check number 3. Wow, take a look at it. It's a little bit more airy than the second one. It's fluffy, but it's okay too. Over fermented, I'm not sure, but this one's okay. Time to bake. Let me bring the Dutch oven. Let's go with the first one. Ta-da! Now time for the scoring. Since it's at room temperature, maybe the cut won't be as good as it could be. First thing I see is there are not too many bubbles in the dough. I think it's a little bit under fermentation, but these are the rules. Let's take it into the oven. Number 2. time to score. This looks a little bit better than the first one. I don't see too many air pockets, but let's see what happens. Number 3. Scoring time. When you slash at room temperature, it's complicated. Time to bake. See you in 20 minutes. 50 seconds left. Let me get ready. This is a total mystery. Let's take a look. Let's go with the first one. Ta-da, ta-da. There's something strange there. We have some oven spring. Bread number 2. Ta-da-da-da. Whoa! Woo! Aha! Now we're talking. Nice oven spring. I thought it could be worse, but it's okay. Okay, good. Bread number 3. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah! Woohoo! It's a little bit flat, but not that flat. A little bit, just because the dough was a little bit hot. Beautiful bread. Back into the oven, and 20 minutes more. Let's turn the temperature a little bit down. Almost 10 seconds left, and we are reaching the end of the baking. Oof. Time to take them out of the oven. Ooh. Number 1. Number 2. Nice color. And number 3. So here are the 3 loaves. Number 1, room temperature. Number 2, water bath. And number 3, in the fermenter, which was the oven. So here are the 3 loaves. Number 1, all done at room temperature. Number 2, done with this water wash. It's okay. And number 3, using the fermentation process in my oven. Let's check them from the outside, the crust. Let me see number 1. First of all, it's not that heavy. I thought it might have been a little bit heavier than the other one, but it's okay. It's okay, the fermentation wasn't that bad. We did it at room temperature. Maybe it was a little bit below the temperature that we needed, or the best temperature to ferment, but here we see this break. This is broken, and here I see some kind of ball. Maybe it's an air ball inside the crumb. We should need to check that. And here's also something strange, a mini ball here. This is because this bread was a little bit underproof. It's been done all at room temperature in 5 hours. Number 2, this one, it's beautiful. I can't believe it that we did this bread in 5 hours. Nice brown color, because we've been using whole wheat flour. That also helped. Using whole wheat flour, it makes the fermentation process a little bit faster than when you use just regular plain flour. Excellent open spring, and this ear is beautiful. Although we cut it, we slashed it at room temperature. That's not best result when you slash a bread at room temperature. It is better when you do it before the cold fermentation. So it is light, it looks okay, it smells wonderful. So I love this bread. Now let's move on to the third one. looks a little bit more flatter than the second one. The reason is because I shaped this bread with a hot dough, because it was in the oven the whole time. The result is a little bit more flat. It's not a flat bread, of course not, but it's a little bit more flatter than this one. I think that the perfect shape should be this one, done with the water bath. 5 hours to get this beautiful brown bread. So and the smell is beautiful too. Time to cut them in the middle. I know it's not the best moment. We should let them cool down a little bit, but I just can't wait. I've been waiting 5 hours and I want to taste this bread right now. Time to slice bread number 1. Okay, it's a little bit warm, but there's no more time. Sure, let's go. Whoa, ho, 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 ho. Wow, take a look at this full scrum. This is the name that we give to the full scrum. It's not because I'm a fool, because you're not expert. It's a non-expert crumb. When you slice this kind of bread and you see these big bubbles, these air pockets here, and you don't have that bread experience, you say, wow, take a look at this piece of bread. But then you check the crumb and it's a little bit more condensed, a little bit more darker, not that airy, although it's a little bit airy, this one. But it's not that airy, and that means it is low in fermentation, as I expected, because we just gave it pour of him very little time. Time for bread number 2. Let's see what it's inside of it. Hello? Eh? Whoa, ho, ho, ho! Ta-da! Take a look at this. I just can't believe what my eyes are seeing right now. It's beautiful, open crumb done in 5 hours. And the difference between this one and the first one were just a few degrees, but the degrees that you need to make a perfect fermentation. Incredible. Take a look at this open crumb with beautiful air pockets, irregular. The color of the dough is beautiful, of the crumb, because we use this buckwheat. Buckwheat gives this light gray. I'm in love with this bread. And now let's move on to bread number 3. But after seeing bread number 2, I'm already done, but we need to slice it too. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Oh, this is incredible too. A little bit more, slightly more flattened than the second one, but it's okay too. Beautiful air pockets, irregular crumb. Oh, it smells beautiful. The buckwheat is incredible. You should use buckwheat just a little bit. Remember that it has no gluten, so you can use 5%, 10%. That's enough. Beautiful bread, just a little bit more flattened than this one. The second one, I think, is the best one. Okay, now we just need to taste it. Let's take a final look before we taste them. Here we have bread number 1, done at room temperature. This kind of dough that I told you is because it needed more time. Of course we can ferment at room temperature, but maybe 5 hours was not enough. Needed a few more hours. The second one done on this water bath, I think is the best one, because we have a round shape, beautiful ear, and the crumb is beautiful. And now we move to the third one, fermented in the oven, which the temperature was a little bit higher, and that made the bread to flatten a little bit. But the crumb is okay too. I think the best one was number 2. So let's taste them. I know it's a little bit under fermented, but it did its best. So we need to try it too. Oh, beautiful and thin and crispy crust. And the dough, it's okay. Tastes just like regular sourdough bread. Number 2. Okay, let's give it a try. Ooh, I'm really loving this kind of bread. Can't believe it, we did it in 5 hours. Crust is thin, crispy, crunchy. Though the crumb is of course humid because it's still warm. It tastes super mild, creamy, beautiful. You can just eat this bread. We don't need anything else. No butter, no jam. Oh, a little bit of butter, but it's okay. Let's taste number 3. It's incredibly light. And here it is. Oof, super crispy. It's very thin, the crust, and of course the crumb is a little bit warm and humid. It tastes almost like bread number 2. It's beautiful, crispy, crunchy, and humid. And I think the difference between the second one and the third one was just the difference in the temperature. A little bit higher, made this a little bit more flattened, but that's all. Number 2, number 3 are okay. We have reached the end of the experiment. We have succeeded in this challenge of making sourdough bread. It took us 5 hours. The secret, of course, is to have your sourdough starter always very healthy, active, and ready to bake bread. If it's not ready, please feed it and refresh it and use it when it is ready to be used. The difference is the temperature. We've seen them doing it at room temperature. It wasn't not okay. Maybe it needed a little bit more time. This water bath, the result was excellent. And in the oven, we saw that maybe the temperature was a little bit higher, or we should have shaped it before the time that we did it. But the results are perfect. We had 3 decent loaves of bread. So that's all. Please let me see you in your comments what you think about this experiment. Share it, like it, and I'll see you on the next video. I hope you have enjoyed this video. And if you want to learn more about sourdough bread and sourdough starter, I encourage you to check the link on the description. And remember, this masterclass was specially designed for you.